Good morning. It is around 9:30 in the morning, April 6th. We're going to call this day 2.5 of our new series of Update Your Whiteboards. And of course today, the theme of the morning is Dan's low BS tolerance. I'm guessing that a lot of you will not be surprised that I tend to have a low BS tolerance. So we're going to talk about some things that are kind of cheesing me off this morning. Tensions are high in New York, and that's understandable. There's bad shit going on in this city, and lots of it. This is a very crowded place with some people that are having a really tough time, and we're here to help them. And that should be, in my opinion, the focus of pretty much everything that we are doing here. And understandably, there's a lot of, for lack of a better term, some inefficiency. And there are, obviously missed opportunities and things that could be done better. Things that we need to learn from. And in my opinion, the way that you do that is that you talk about them, you address what you see. You try to discuss these things in adult terms very matter-of-factly. You put them right out there, and then you make adult choices. You learn from it, you regroup, you adjust, and you move forward. That is, I think, the right way to do that. The wrong way to do it, I think, is throwing fits, getting upset, pointing, screaming, yelling, taking things out on people that they have nothing to do with. If you need to vent, you need to vent, and that's okay. But you need to be grown enough to say, "No, just please let me vent for a minute," and let's move on. If you have been in this town for 48 hours, and you are of the opinion that people owe you something, and that you should not have to deal with inefficiency, and you should not have to deal with mistakes, you should probably get your ass into a cab, and you should probably go back to the airport, and you should probably fly home. Because we are in the middle of the worst pandemic in the last 100 years. We are dealing with things that nobody has prepared for, even if we maybe should have, and things that we should have been aware of. We haven't. And society is right now paying the price, and we are supposed to be the people who put this shit on our backs and all pull the same direction. And if you're not all ready to pull the same direction, get the fuck out of here. Because I don't have a lot of fucking tolerance for it. Pardon my language, but this is not cool. So if you don't get enough sleep and you don't get a nice hot meal, I'll give you a hug. I'll give you a protein bar out of my backpack. I'll share some pretzels with you, but let's not go flying off the handle, foaming at the mouth, and taking stuff out on other people. It's unprofessional, it's unproductive, and we ain't got time for that shit. So there's that. In addition to that, you have other kinds of BS. And it's a totally different flavor of BS, as if we don't have enough flavors of BS. Hospitals and health systems are traditionally pretty big, cumbersome organizations. And there's a lot of things that health systems do that are built on many years, decades of systems, processes, and as a result, some of the things that we have to do, like some of the educational stuff that we have to do. Once a year, I have to prove that I know how to do an AccuCheck on somebody and find out what their blood glucose is. Yay! After doing that for 20 years, I've become relatively proficient at it. Other things like a Foley catheter, I have to prove every now and then that I know how to clean one. and make sure that somebody has a lower risk of infection as opposed to a higher risk of infection. So these sorts of things that we have to learn, they are various and sundry, and there's a whole bunch of them. And we're responsible for them all the time. We are constantly retrained, constantly retested, in many different forms. So, sadly, sometimes when we show up in a new place and we go to a new hospital, we have to be accountable to some of that stuff. And that's okay. The hospital has to keep their records, and they have to show that, all the people that come into this hospital, they are responsible and they are aware and they know that you have to be able to clean a Foley catheter, you have to be able to do an AccuCheck, and that's great. But maybe we should be doing some other stuff, like getting us the ability to actually get into the record-keeping system so we can see who the patients are. Maybe we should be talking about safety and security issues of knowing where things are at, how to get in touch with safety and security, where the emergency exits are, what are some of the fundamental safety plans for an organization. Giving us the ability to get into a Pyxis and get medications. These still seem to be foundational issues. And sadly, sometimes I have to prove that I know how to clean a Foley catheter before I can do any of that stuff. And it is frustrating because I want to get out there and help and lay hands on people. This is frustrating because 2 nights ago, I guess on day 1, I was at a hospital that was decidedly urban. And boy, man, those folks are just suffering. Wow. It's really hard to describe without getting into detail that I really shouldn't go into detail about for many professional reasons, but dude, they're hurting. I've been an ER nurse for going on 20 years, and I've seen some stuff, and I've done some stuff. I've seen some, I've been part of disasters. I've been part of blown up meth labs. I've been part of, weather catastrophes and, mass casualty incidents, and never seen anything that was quite as much of a bad situation as what I saw the other night. The conditions that people are working under are impossible to do justice to with a simple short video on YouTube. Not possible. The people who are in there taking care of that are every bit, and I hate to use the word heroes, but man, they're doing some impressive work, and they're brave, and they are killing it. So then last night, I find out at time of deployment that I'm going to go to a different hospital than the one I did the night before. So I go to a different place, and I'm trying to, get my stuff together and get motivated and get ready, because I know that I'm going back into that environment where things are rough. And then I sit in a classroom for a long time, and I pretty much don't lay hands on anybody. And that's okay. That's the process. That's what I'm asked to do. So I shut my mouth and I try to do it as best I can. But man, I want to get out there and lay hands on people and help. I think that a lot of other people feel exactly the same way. So, and the sooner that I can get out there and lay hands on people, the sooner I'm able to take a little bit of a burden off of that person next to me. They're going to have a little bit more in the tank. They're going to have a little bit more time to take a deep breath, maybe get a glass of water, use the restroom. Every percentage, every fraction of a percentage of pressure we can take off of one another in these situations makes a difference, because when you are so stressed, when you are working so hard, when you are pushing for 10 and 12 hours at your absolute mental and emotional and physical capacity, the chance of errors, the risk of something silly happening that has bad outcomes, it raises exponentially. the closer you get to 100% of capacity, be it for a machine or a person or an organization, the closer you are to catastrophe. Uh, if you have a motorcycle and you run that motorcycle at red line and you just go pin that throttle back, it may only run for 2 minutes before it blows up. But if you run it at half throttle, it may be a great motorcycle for you for 30 years. And it's literally that much of a difference. And pushing people that hard is exactly the same. And so right now, these systems and these people are all pushing at 100% capacity plus. They are all pushing past that. And we need to do everything that we can to take that pressure off. And that means we need to get them the supplies that they need. We need to get them extra help. We need to improve their physical location. Something as simple as working on a patient on a bed that can't raise up in the air, it makes it harder to do IVs, because when you're beat tired and you have to bend over and your back's screaming at you and you're hanging off all this PPE and you're trying to start an impossible IV in somebody who doesn't have veins, the difficulty goes up. And so it's all of these things. All of these little things add up, and I think that's what people don't understand. I think that you think about anything that you do, the more layers of difficulty that you add to it, the more obstacles you put in the path. Each time you do that, it doesn't just get a little bit harder, it gets exponentially harder. And people right now in New York City and everywhere around the world, in Italy, now in New Orleans, coming up in Detroit, of course in Seattle and California, and sadly soon probably coming to your town too, all of these same issues are going to be at play. If you're in an area where this isn't hitting, consider talking to everybody you can about all of those things you need to make that job a little bit easier for the people who are actually going to lay hands on these patients and provide for these patients when it comes. That's going to be things as simple as making sure that your support staff, has a sandwich to eat and a cool drink. It's going to be, of course, making sure you have masks, making sure that you have gowns. Every little thing that you can do for these people that puts a little bit extra in their tank, it will make a difference. And failing to do that is planning to fail. And right now, what failure looks like, there is no good outcome to all of this. There is an absolute assured pain and suffering that we are suffering as the whole world. This is going to hit every corner of the globe. And it's pain and suffering. It's going to be, people who lose loved ones and they can't be there for them. We're going to be burying people that we won't be able to be there for. Funerals that we won't be able to have. It's going to be months before we're able to celebrate the lives that are going to be lost. So, what victory looks like at this point. It is fighting for every last person that we can save. So, that's where we're at, and that's why I'm pissed off, and that's why I'm grumpy, because we're all in this together, whether we know it or not. We're all up against this, and the things that we do for the person next to us are things that we do for everyone. So I need to get some sleep. I've got, I guess, about 6 hours before I have to get my ass out of bed. I think ideally, with the amount of stress that I'm putting myself under and the way that I'm working, or at least going to be working instead of last night sitting on my ass, I think I probably need about 10 hours of sleep, but I'm going to get 6 tonight. Hopefully tomorrow I can get about 8. I don't think that it's likely that I'm going to get more than 8 pretty much anytime soon. And that's a best case scenario. And that's okay. It's going to be good sleep. But I'm going to try to keep people updated. I'm going to try to keep doing these for a while if I can. Because I think it's good. I think it helps. And it also, instead of trying to answer 120 text messages and 43 messages on Facebook. Hopefully this gets out some information. I'm trying to stay in touch with all my friends. God, you people are some wonderful folks. All the offers to help find materials and things that I need, the offers to send things to me. It's gracious, it's kind. And also, there's some other things we'll talk about. But thank you guys again. Thank you for your support. Be good to each other. Continue to talk to other people about things that we can do to help protect not only people here in New York, but people where you live, people you care about, your friends, your loved ones, your neighbors. This is the sort of stuff that it changes society. And so 30 years from now, the things that we do now will pay dividends into the future, or we will pay for them well into the future. So that's it for me. I'm going to get some sleep. You guys take care. Love you all. Have a good day. Bye.